Then there were 17. The Canadian Space Agency has narrowed down its field of candidates who will be Canada's next astronaut. The group will begin the final phase of the recruitment process before the 2 successful candidates are chosen this summer. So what exactly goes into determining whether or not someone has the chops to leave the planet? Joining us to shed some light on the recruitment process is a man who came out on top of the last recruitment, that's back in 2009. Astronaut Jeremy Hansen is our guest this morning. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
This looks very, I don't know if you can see this shot, but you're in your gear with the stars behind you. Dreaming of things to come. 17 people have made it to the, just before the final stage. What was going through your head? Bring us back to that moment when you found out you had made the final round.
Well, at this stage, when I go back to 2009, when I was in this finalist, there were 16 of it at that point. I was just amazed by the people that I was surrounded by, just great Canadians. I was really excited about the opportunity that I might be able to be one of the 2 chosen, but I had no real expectations that it would be me. It just didn't seem statistically probable, I suppose. You
have a short amount of time to sort of be happy, and then you got to move past that because you're trying to get down to the final 2. And the testing that you guys go through is incredible, as it should be if you're going to leave Earth. Bring us through some of the scenarios that you had to go through.
Yeah, and very similar for these candidates. What we're really trying to do is put them under a lot of pressure. We want to see what they're like when they're stressed. Are they good people to work with? Are they good team players? Can they handle the stress? If I'm in a spacecraft and we have an emergency situation, can I count on them to be right there beside me solving the problem?
This is some firefighter biz. What are we actually looking at here, Jeremy?
Yeah, this is from my selection process where we're going through fighting fires. This is in the Navy's damage control facility. So it's a ship, it's a simulator of a ship, and they teach people to fight fires in the ship and stop flooding chambers. This is a helicopter dunker. So if a helicopter were to crash in the water, how do you get out of the helicopter? And these things don't happen in space. But these are ways that we can put the candidates in a new situation they're not familiar with. How do you deal with something that you've never been in before? It's stressful. Maybe you're fighting for air. Are you calm? Are you collected? That's what we're looking for.
One of the ones I read that you went through is they stick you in this unit, they dunk you underwater, and they tell you to problem solve to get out?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeesh.
They give you very basic training and steps very quickly. It's like, hey, you're going to do this, 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 and this. Ready? Okay. And then in the water you go.
You've got to be pretty brilliant to make it this far in the recruitment process, but how crucial is it to be able to demonstrate that you can not only be the guy, but that you can also work as a team?
Oh, very crucial. Imagine you and I were going on a mission to space. We're going to be in a
I'd love to imagine that. Okay, let's go.
Absolutely. And we're going to be in a tin can for 6 months together, working on complex problems, facing difficult situations. It's going to be really important that I trust that you and I are going to be on the same page. We're going to be working together as a team all the time.
It still is a competition. So, and then the decision process of who gets to fly still has to be made. Mm-hmm. How do you work that out? Is there any jealousy involved when, other people get to go and, somebody has to stay?
Yeah, so it's really important that we create this sense of a core amongst all the individuals. So right now, it's very small. It's easy to do. It's just David St. Jacques and I. And for example, David St. Jacques will launch to space in 2018 from Kazakhstan, and I'll support his mission. And when it's my turn to fly, the core will support my mission, and that's just the way we work it. And the way we look at it is really important, and it's a good lesson for everybody, is if we make each other better, if we come together, instead of competing, if we come together and we try and lift each other up, we'll accomplish more for Canada in space amongst our international partners. And it was Steve McEwen who really cemented that advice in David and I, and we've embraced it. We make it kind of part of our mantra. And we remind each other of it often, that we both still feel that way.
You said that you were dreaming of being in space since you were a little guy. Mm-hmm. You're still dreaming.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember seeing pictures of Neil Armstrong on the moon as a child, and that just changed my perspective. I changed my treehouse into a spaceship, and I've just kept pursuing that dream ever since.
These recruits are also going to be evaluated for their communication skills. So, you can be the strong, silent type, but that's not necessarily going to get you there as part of a team. Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of the situations they put you in and how important it is to be an astronaut and also be a good communicator.
Well, we definitely want astronauts who are going to be able to share the experiences. And we get to send very few Canadians to space right now. I believe that's changing. I think there's going to be a lot more in the future. But right now, very few get to go. And we want to be able to share the benefits of space back to Canadians, like Chris Hadfield did. It was a great example.
That was fantastic.
And we got to live the experience of going to space through Chris Hadfield. And that's something that's very important to the Canadian Space Agency, that we're prepared to do that in the future. And so, yeah, we will look at their communication skills and make sure it's something that they're passionate about, that they do want to share it with our fellow Canadians. You've
been in the place where these recruits are right now. What's the biggest life adjustment that they're going to have to get used to?
You know, I didn't find it to be too much of a life adjustment. For me, coming from the military, you know, there's a lot of travel involved, a lot of high-pressure training where you're just expected to perform. You're always being watched and judged in a good way, but always being judged. But that was something I was used to as a fighter pilot. And I think most of these candidates that I see, I've met them now, I've spoken with them, I don't think it'll be a big adjustment for them.
All right, well, fingers crossed that you're going to get your flight mission soon. And we'll check in with you again once they've made the final selections. Jeremy, thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much.